Roberts, Maddie Scott, Melissa Fisher, and Michaeline Bremitz. In 206, we have Commissioner Vero and Commissioner Slotnick. We have Jacob Allington, Carrie Powers, Ann Hughes, Aaron Couts, Annie Cathy, Melissa Gordon, Chris Lounsbury, Randy Arnold,
Ryan Uris.
I'm sorry, Ryan
Uris.
Ryan Uris,
Hannah Stone.
Stone,
Laura Henning.
Emmy Bristow, and Michelle Denman.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Annie. You are more brave than I am. I would just have folks go around and introduce themselves rather than trying to remember names. But anyway, is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? Okay, seeing none. We have a consent agenda with 5 items on it. Anything that folks want to discuss further there?
Yes, thanks, Dave. I really need to call out item number 1, which is why we have our guests here. We are about to sign a lease with Glacier Ice Rink, which doesn't sound too eventful. Signing a lease, signing contracts, this kind of thing we do in these meetings all the time, and it's worthy of more yawn than celebration. This is the exact opposite. These folks who are here today who have joined us, Ryan and Hannah and Laura, Randy's put a ton of time in here. This is worthy of celebration. It has taken many months and tremendous amount of human work to get to this point. I wish Emily Brock and Courtney Ellis could be here because they too put a ton of work into this. I don't want to just call out the work in the lease, but the work that the ice rink folks have put in over the years of kind of transforming your organization, modernizing it, professionalizing it, putting yourself in a position. And I think bringing us along, we needed to come along as well to get to this point where we can sign a lease, which really provides, I believe, you guys with the autonomy you need and deserve to bring the rinks and the whole ice culture into the future. And I'm just so psyched that we're here and want to applaud your efforts and Emily's and Courtney's efforts to bring us to this point. And this is not a very celebratory environment here in Motel 6 of conference rooms. And I hope that we can dream something up that is really celebratory, where all the folks in the ice community can host a drink to this point and cut a ribbon and all that kind of thing. So thank you so much for all of those efforts to bring us to this spot. We're really glad we're here. With that, we'll sign this lease, and I believe we go from here to the bank.
Yay.
I'm glad I ran into you there. Otherwise, this would be floating around in DocuSign.
No, we don't need it.
Yeah.
This is the real deal, and we have a way for Dave to sign it, even though he's sequestered in his attic with COVID. So doing well.
All right,
As you can
thanks,
see from this
thanks,
rosy
Josh.
cheek.
Is there anyone from Glacier Ice Rink who would like to speak to this?
Yeah.
Look at Ryan.
I'd be happy to. So I just recently turned off the board as
Oh,
president.
turned off,
Turned off, yeah. So it had been a while.
He was sad to leave us.
I'm sure.
But I want to extend a thank you to Commissioner Slotnick and everybody at the county too. I don't know if you remember, I remember a meeting we had maybe
Years ago,
in 2019 at Black Coffee.
Yeah.
Those
How we met each other, really.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. And you've stuck with us. You've watched us evolve. All of you have really supported Glacier Ice Rink. And the one thing that struck me from these, lease discussions over the last year or so was how cordial, professional, and forward-thinking they were. And as someone who's been around the rink for a long time, that's huge for us two partners to be working with that kind of vision of the future. So we can't thank you enough. This lease really allows us to grow and to evolve and just launch into the next 25 years of our existence. Hey, so thank you so much.
We don't
Right.
have Martin or Griffin here, do we?
No.
The death of journalism is a bummer.
Anyone else?
Supported.
Any other comments on this?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Before we do that, anything else on the consent agenda as a whole?
Oh, sorry.
Not just the ice rink piece. Okay, now for your motion, Juanita.
Sorry. I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion or public comment on any of these 5 items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We sign this bugger?
Okay.
So I have a question. You guys want wet signatures? I guess this last page just has a county representative. Are we gonna have just Randy sign as a representative? Okay. So we will just do this.
Yeah, let's do this before we do the next
Let
item.
me grab a blue pen out of there. And, yeah,
Oh, wow, there's actually one in there.
there's one. I saw it. I brought pink. I don't think that's gonna
So,
work today.
Annie, is this going to come to me by ready sign?
So David's not here in person. I have to send ready sign.
Can
And
we
then
do-
He's just like
Do we
3
have
blocks
a,
away.
do we have a,
We can like,
do we have a stamp or something? 'Cause
Um,
these guys need to go to the bank right now.
I think if we get at least,
We have
Rather than
2, is
3, I
that,
think
is
that's
that all right?
that is, it's legal.
It's legally binding.
yeah, no, I think.
Two
it's
of you is the,
Are you okay
is the
with that?
commission.
Yeah, that's
Dave?
fine. Yeah, just note that I'm on record as supporting it, so I'm not abstaining.
It does has to be attested by the clerk and recorders. So you have to hit that spot before
Okay.
you take it to the bank.
I mean, you could, I would just like run down the block and have Dave just.
I know it's tempting, isn't it?
Yeah,
No way.
he's literally,
He's
Like-
at home, but he has
We can just
COVID.
like slip it under the
Yeah.
door or something.
if they swing by your porch,
Dave?
He's like, what?
if they swing by your porch for a signature,
I mean, do you actually need 3 signatures?
No.
Okay, just
Okay.
roll with 2 and be done with it. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
And did we get it to Randy?
Randy can sign it when he's. Here, do you want to come up there? We're just happen to have you the county representative.
Brian, document state.
Today.
So fun. Yeah.
23rd. So clerk and treasurer, and then it looks like we need.
Yep.
Yep.
This is so exciting, I gotta say.
Yeah,
I feel like it's been so many months in the making.
absolutely. Years.
And then I'm gonna let you guys just take this, but I will need
Pop
a
it.
copy
Okay.
once it's
Okay.
done to record.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
we got it.
thank you.
Yay.
Go to the bank.
I know.
Go.
Just so you all know, we're putting in a new chiller. People ask me, what does a chiller do? I'm like, it chills. But it's a $300,000 loan we're taking from the bank. And so they've been like, where's the lease? We're like, it's coming, guys, it's coming. So they're arriving today to actually get all this done. So it's pretty good timing on all of
Those
this.
are on the very back.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
With the
so-
signage stuff,
yeah.
yes.
That's a good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Look forward to
All
it.
right.
Let's shoot something up.
We will.
Thanks, Conrad.
Yeah.
You see, thanks for taking.
Oh, I found that.
Thanks, Randy.
Celebrate your gracious to
All right.
bring.
Thanks, everyone. We will move on to our one action item today. This is to authorize me to sign a contract amendment with DPHHS. Aaron, are you out there somewhere?
I am here. Hi.
Okay.
So this is a contract amendment to our previous crisis diversion grant contract. Which was initially a 1.5 years long. It was supposed to end at the end of fiscal year 24. And they had only provided funding for the mobile support team for the first 6 months of it because the intention was that Medicaid would kick in and then they would be self-sustaining. But DPHHS has realized that that is not what's happening. And so we had one contract amendment already for the first half of fiscal year 24, which was July through December. And then they pushed back the Medicaid reimbursement yet again. So they allowed more funding to happen for the second half of fiscal year 24 from January through essentially April, but they made it January through June to help support current mobile support teams. So this is adding funding to our current grant so that we can reimburse the mobile support team for that funding. And I also have been working with the fire department on our contract with them. But they've been real busy with the fires, basically. I know Brad is out actively working on wildland fires right now. So, yeah, so this is just continuing those funding for the second half of fiscal year 24.
Great. Any questions?
And can
Or
I just
motion.
say one more quick thing while I'm
Yeah.
here? I do want to let you all know that we did receive notice that we did get the next crisis diversion grant, but they haven't told us the amount yet.
Is that
So-
often the case?
Yes, so they're working through that, but we did, just to let you know, score the highest score out of all
Yeah.
the states.
Last year too.
We scored, yes, we did. Yeah, we
I think
Well
it's- I
done,
think
well
it's-
done,
I
Erin.
think it's like 3 years running in the truck.
Yeah, so I think I'm feeling confident that we'll get a good amount of our grant, but I have been repeatedly trying to call the state to get a timeline for when we're gonna get those contracts, when we're gonna know the amounts, so that we can give, notice to our partners about how much funding they're gonna get, because it really was supposed to start July 1st. But I have not heard back yet. So I'll keep trying to find that out, and I will let you know as soon as I hear. But I did want to at least let you know that we were successful. We just don't know how successful. So, yeah.
Great.
All right, I'd move that we approve the chair to sign the contract.
Second.
Further discussion or any public comment from anyone on this item? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah,
you
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Aaron, I keep running into you, but I feel like you don't see me.
Yeah, I have horrible eyesight.
No, it's a weird distance at the peak, and then yesterday at the Good Food.
Oh.
Just again, following it.
Yeah, we have similar
Similar,
lifestyles.
yes.
All right, before we move on to our budget enhancement request discussions, Chris, is there anything that you want to share on the fire update front?
So just for information, there is a public meeting tonight related to the Miller Peak fire for the Clinton and Tur area at 7:00. That is in
Juanita will
case,
be our
yeah, as I say,
representative.
Juanita is going to be able to go to that. So we'll have a commissioner there for the incident management team when they do that tonight. Adrian sends her apologies for not being able to make it tonight, today for her wildland fire update. But of course, as folks know, we had a storm front move through last night, and so they're busy coordinating with our agency partners to find out where, if any, we have new starts. And so that is taking up her bandwidth this morning. It does sound like from Adrian yesterday afternoon that they were making good progress on the Butler Creek fire, and were able to lift some of the evacuations that were to the eastern side of the fire activity. And of course, they have resources out there today. We do have members of the Missoula County the Southwestern Montana Incident Management Team, swim team out there. As well as the incident commander is one of our OEM staff who's out running that fire right now, that complex fire. So that's kind of where we are as of this morning. And then on Thursday, hopefully Adrian will be able to join us and do a full update for you all, but she will get some communication out today to you guys after she's done with her 10 o'clock briefing call on where we are and if we have new starts in Missoula.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
What is it?
So a quick question
Yeah,
before.
like
So
straights out by my house.
yesterday I was speaking with Shizu from Tester's office
Yeah.
about the EPA grant, the one-stop shop.
Yep.
And he said he thought he might be able to make a phone call, and that often helps unclog things. I wasn't sure if you would be the person to copy him on, or Karen, in terms of who would know the name of the grant, the name of the program. the name of
Yeah,
all
well,
the
it's kind of,
details.
it would be either me or Karen or Bryce. We've all been involved in
Should I
those.
just
So,
copy you all on the same letter?
yeah, the grant will go to Ecology and Extension, but
Okay, I'll copy you all.
yeah, okay, that's
Thank you very
great.
much.
Yeah, I spoke with him a while back.
He's very helpful.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, Melissa, the balance of the time is yours.
Oh, okay. So Dave, you should receive an email with just 4 slides that folks can look at as I talk. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to present the budget enhancement request for FY25. I'm going to start not by speaking extensively to the past, because this is a very future-oriented presentation, but I do want you to know that this request isn't coming out of the blue. We have kind of had a process of developing our identity as a division and thinking about how we can best serve the county, and I feel like we have gotten to a really good place in that thinking. But I did want to walk back to when we first started as a county entity, and that was in FY18. The City County Grants and Community Programs Department was dissolved, and the 4 remaining FTEs joined what was then the Community and Planning Services Department. We had a $5.5 million portfolio, and we were asking ourselves every day, what does a county-only division look like? How can we do the most good for the county? Between FY19 and FY23, we saw a lot of growth in bringing in external funding. Our portfolio grew to 11.9 million. We added a housing specialist, a hard-funded grants administrator, and an ARPA-funded grants administrator. We had a $5 million increase in annual grant management obligations. And what that meant was that the support that we had started to provide county departments kind of bottomed out. We went from bringing in 2.6 million for county departments to bringing in 120,000 for county departments, because all our time was spent on grant management. Towards the end of this time period in FY23, sort of as part of the bigger lands and communities evolution, we underwent a program assessment, and that program assessment really showed a pressing need for additional grant support to different departments across the county. I did submit budget requests last year and they weren't funded, which was initially a bummer, but I think it's one of the many things that have come together to make this request possible. And I think it was actually a positive. So then beginning of FY24, didn't get the budget enhancements again, considering what is our future, how can we best serve the county? I came across the FY21 audit and saw that there were some concerns related to grant management county-wide. I also continued to get requests from different departments all the time for assistance that I just didn't have the people, to provide. So after I looked at the audit, I scheduled a meeting with Dave and Michelle, who are both here and who have been incredibly helpful in all these conversations, as have Chris and Chet. They've all been a part of this over all these years. And we immediately recognized that this isn't something that just grants can solve. Issues and support that departments need with grants. It's not something that just the auditor can do. It's not something that just finance can do. We really each have unique areas of expertise, and we needed to work together and alongside one another to help county departments in a new way. So we floated this idea past Chris and past Chet. There was support for it. We developed a charter to kind of formalize our approach, and that charter contained a timeline and deliverables. And a few of those deliverables led to this budget enhancement request. They were to outline existing staff capacity, structure, and operational resources, to identify areas of immediate and future needs for the implementation of a coordinated grant support system, and then to develop relevant FY25 budget requests for FTE necessary to implement the system of coordinated grant support. So that brings us to the budget requests that were submitted as part of the FY25 budget. On the second page, you'll see a draft organizational chart for the new department that has a different name. It would be called the Grants and Community Resources Department, and instead of being community focused as we are currently, we would add an internal focus. So everything to the right of the vertical dotted lines is what we currently do. And that in the future would be called the Community Resources Division. There would be 2 work areas, one county grants and loans to support community partners. This is our grant making function. This is creating and managing grant making processes for mostly county funds that go out to community partners, and then managing those projects and contracts. Everything you see in yellow did not exist when we joined Community and Planning Services Department in FY18. This is what we had at the end of FY24. Then we have the Wheels on the Bus grants for the community. These are grants that we apply for and then manage. The county is the only eligible applicant. They're typically very technical, very regulations laden, and they have 1, 2, 3 years long commitments with managing of the funds. These are grants that support systems of care in the community. Erin just talked about the crisis diversion grant. What she didn't say is that she got over 100% rating, not just the top rated applicant, but over 100%. Overachiever, yes. So with that grant as an example, that is one grant, 3 years, potentially $2.7 million, 10 contracts come out of that grant. That grant is a collaboration with the Strategic Alliance for Behavioral Health, the City of Missoula, Western Montana Mental Health Center, St. Patrick Hospital, on and on and on. So it is one blurb on here, but the depth of the coordination and the management that goes with that one grant is significant. And if the county didn't play that role, someone else would have to step into that vacuum or the system of care would fall apart. Again, everything in yellow, new since joining CAPS and becoming a county-only department. Ongoing obligations in both Wheels on the Bus and county grants and loans areas that mean that in order to move towards our new proposed function, which is to the left of the dotted line, we need to add capacity in the form of positions. So the grants division that we're proposing, in contrast to the community resources division, would have an internal focus. And we would provide grant support for county departments. That's all encompassing soup to nut support across the life cycle of a grant. We would be organized according to the strategic planning buckets. So every county department belongs in a bucket. Every bucket would have a contact in the grants department who would provide them with customized support based on their needs. We would have a very customer service oriented approach with a menu of services that we could provide to counties. It would be very dynamic and would be ever changing based on needs. And it would be coordinated. We would be working closely not only with departments, but with our partners in coordinated grant support, primarily audit and finance. And it would also be innovative because the goal here is to offset the need for county tax dollars to support new projects and programs and to bring in external dollars to alleviate that pressure on county tax funding. Another thing this would do, it would maximize efficiency by utilizing our expertise. We do grants every day. For a department that might be inexperienced or have never done a grant before, right now they don't have support. So it would be like, I'm seeing Carrie and thinking of the comms team and what they do for other county departments. It would be like not having Carrie and Allison and Emmy to help when you want to pull together a press release or get the word out. You would have to figure out everything on your own. Right now, that's what people are doing with grants, and adding capacity would enable us to serve that need. I do want to talk a bit on the next page about county grant support and what grants and community resources role in that would look like. So you see the three-legged stool, which is grants and audit and finance. And then at the juncture of these three departments would be the comprehensive coordinated grant support for the county. And finance and audit would provide support with fiscal management and ensure alignment with county fiscal and audit requirements. And grants and community programs would be providing the comprehensive support across the life cycle of a grant. And you might be wondering, what type of support do people possibly need? Writing the grants and getting the money is the hardest thing, or aren't grants just money in, money out? This is purely fiscal. Those are both common misconceptions, but they're not true. So I'm going to give you, I will be providing not a comprehensive list of everything that we would help departments with, but it'll give you an idea of what actually goes into the grant process. And again, without additional staff, we won't be able to provide these services. So grant life cycle of a grant is along the bottom of the page. The pre-award step of the process is everything leading up to a contract. So what we would start with is by doing a countywide grants needs assessment. And we would do that both at the higher level with SLT and the commission, and then we would do it with departments in those buckets. And we would make sure that the grant priorities mesh so that departments aren't pursuing grants that aren't in line with county priorities. We would help departments search for and identify potential funding opportunities. We would help them analyze funders' requests for proposals and determine their eligibility, gauge project readiness and subrecipient readiness, develop and submit the grant application. We are proposing to be the keepers of grant logins for the county so that there's one department for people to contact to get those logins and keep them up to date and be responsive. We would also provide a centralized repository for common forms that you need for grant applications. What's the county's UEI? Where's the Title VI certification? All these seemingly random things if you don't write a lot of grants, but we would have them all in one place, and that would make pulling together applications a lot easier. We have created a grant application tracker, and this was Chris's idea, and it's been super interesting. So currently our grants policy covers everything from the time of contract forward. What we were missing was county departments were applying for grants, and sometimes nobody knew about that. They were signing their own contracts. So that was the start of issues. That means they weren't getting codes from finance and on and on and on. So what we have found is in the first 3 months of asking county departments, do you have any active grant applications out there? Will you be submitting any in the next month? There are 33 applications that we are aware of that have been submitted over the last 3 months. And something that was really exciting to me and might seem small is that we had a county department contact us to ask, are you aware of anyone else in the county who's applying for this funding source? Because the county is only allowed to request funding for 2 projects. We have 2 projects, but if there's another county project, we would step back and prioritize and submit 1. So that's the kind of coordination that will be possible when we've got eyes on all departments within these buckets and countywide. Okay, pre-award. So that you've submitted it, and then you hear you're getting the funding. What happens next? A lot. We don't just receive money and get it out to people. There's contract development and execution, and then there's contract management over the life of the grant. There is sometimes procurement. There's processing the requests for payment and tracking financials. That's when our friends in finance and audit and the new ERP system will come into play. There's time tracking for a lot of federal grants. You have to track your time and efforts. There's processing drawdowns. And again, part of that will be in ERP, but then you have to have logins for different federal systems, federal drawdown systems, and we can help with that. Anyway, this is getting long, but it is long. The point is there is a lot to it. Project reporting, fiscal and programmatic, file management. I do want to highlight the next step in the grant lifecycle, which is subaward. And I want to highlight it because we did have there's a concern in the FY23 audit around county management of subrecipients when we receive federal funding and then that funding goes to a community partner. And this is something we do every day. And we have processes and protocol that we can share with departments. We can help usher them through this process. So again, this will be a coordinated effort with finance and audit because we'll have to develop policy, but just a policy isn't going to get us anywhere. People need a warm body to walk them through it. So, issues with audits are never exciting, but when I heard that, I was like, we can help. This is our wheelhouse. We can do this. So working with subrecipients, often the county is referred to as a pass-through, and I want to say that is almost never true. The county is the grant recipient and responsible for oversight and management of that grant, programmatic and fiscal. Even if the money is going to a community partner and they're going to do the work, it's the county that's on the line and responsible for how that work is done, how the money is spent, et cetera. So we can help departments develop processes so that we do that better. And then there's closeout, and that's just submission of final reports and connecting with audit and finance for final reconciliation. And finally, I'm to the budget enhancement request. You might be wondering, like, why on earth would I bring these forward in a year where I know that money is super tight? There are several, to me, good reasons. One, we will have what I like to call an ARPA cliff happening. We have received money automatically and
Phrase.
funded Lots of programs that are really needed in the community, and we're gonna need to find external sources of funding to keep those going. We need additional staff to be able to do that. Two are some concerns with how grants are being managed countywide. We can help with that, and that needs to happen now so that the county can be responsive to concerns outlined in audit. Unrealized opportunities that exist when departments don't have people with expertise helping them find funding sources that are in alignment with their needs. There's a new appetite for coordination between audit, finance, and grants, and a recognition of the value of working together to support departments. And then there's just the absolute necessity of needing to be able to generate external dollars instead of looking to the county tax coffers to support innovative projects and programs. And then really a cost benefit analysis. This is an investment of funding, but I think, and I will be able to measure this over time, that the amount of money that we're able to bring in and then manage responsibly is going to be significant. And also this is not just a request for grants and community resources. This is a request that will benefit the whole county because we'll be able to amplify existing efforts in the grants realm. So we are staggering positions in alignment with ERP coordination. So we're not asking all positions to be funded for the full year and to come on at the same time. We need to develop a leadership structure within the new department, and that looks like a director position and 2 division leads. Those will all be promotional opportunities for existing staff, and those positions will not be backfilled. So we will be counting on the 2 new FTE to really help backfill some of the work that the people who have the promotional opportunities are currently doing. So the grant liaison is going to be really key. When we joined CAPS, we lost our dedicated support staff. We had 3 support staff prior to joining CAPS and a smaller overall grant and loan portfolio than we currently have. The grant liaison would fill that void, and what has been filling that void are grants administrators taking on administrative duties. And when I say administrative duties, I mean management of the grant management software, doing all the invoicing, doing the website, doing all the contracting, doing insurance tracking, and on and on and on. So the hope is that the grants liaison can free up some of the grant administrator time, and then the grants administrators can fill the positions that were elevated to provide a leadership structure. I hope that made sense. So the total personnel cost for FY25 would be almost 112,000, and then operations expenses for new staff. That's just the equipment that everybody needs as a county employee, so phones, computers, software. So the total request is 118,968, and something about grants and budgeting that is so hard. So, Aaron spoke about the crisis diversion grant. If fully funded, which we kind of think it will be, close to fully funded anyway, that's 2.7 million over 3 years. It's 97,000 of admin support directly for grant staff that is not currently in our FY25 budget because we don't have a contract, we don't have official award notification yet. Another example of money for admin that supports positions that is not in the FY25 budget is with the HART grant. It's smaller, it's about 15,000 a year, but that in the end, when we have all those numbers, will help offset some of this budget request. Now that's for 1 year, it's not ongoing, but I know that this next year is really tough budget-wise. So that's just something to consider. And once we have those amounts, I can get you more concrete information on how much additional money we'll have coming in that we weren't able to anticipate. And we really appreciate that county tax dollar funding is a backstop to keep all positions funded. Like if this admin money weren't coming in, we would still have county support for those positions. That's really important. But in this next year, we might not need as much county support as we originally thought we would.
Hey, Melissa, just to interject here. So as far as looking beyond FY25 to FY26 and bracketing the question whether additional grants coming in might be able to backfill some administrative costs. The 118, 119 figure here is presumably for a partial year since we're already getting well into FY25. So what would the ongoing fiscal impact be, say in FY26?
So for the two new positions, if they're 100% county tax dollar funded, it would be 138 a year. And then the difference in salary and benefits for the three leadership positions would be approximately 35,000 a year. So a total request of 173 on an ongoing basis.
Okay,
Plus
just wanted to be clear that the 119 this year will equate to 170 or so going forward.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So I would be happy to answer any questions or, yeah, happy to answer questions. Thanks for listening. I know I just talked at you very quickly for.
Great. I was gonna just say, great work. I know that the reorg, as we called it, taken a tremendous amount of effort. We had Keegan involved. I remember gathering information, coming up with recommendations that this didn't, you said it nicely, this didn't come out of nowhere. This is a ton of work to get to this point, but we have a plan for moving forward, and that plan reflects thoughts and observations of a whole bunch of people who've been at this for a long time.
Yeah.
And how to address the ARPA cliff.
Yeah, I like I'm gonna start using it.
I do want to, just as a reminder for folks, especially since we're recording this year and folks will be able to view it online, that when we think about the county's overall budget, that grants across the county divisions, right? So the money that the county is actually responsible for managing and overseeing currently at a department level scattered across 30 plus departments is almost a third of the funding that the county receives.
Yeah.
And so the potential loss of that funding through audit findings or other things would be devastating to the county's actual overall fiscal health if those things were to come. And we are really fortunate in Missoula County to have incredibly competent staff, both in Melissa's shop, in finance, in the auditor's office, and at our department level to do that. But every time they go out and they search for new grant funding, right, that adds one more things to those departments' plates that they already don't often have the capacity to manage. And so this idea of both a coordinated grants team that involves folks both at the department level as well as grant staff and auditor and finance department is really critical to that, as well as the ability to provide some additional support to those departments. Because again, almost a third of the funding for the county as an organization across all the departments comes from sources that aren't related to property taxes, but are actually through federal, state, and private grant foundations. So
Yeah, that's really well said, Dennis. That number, a third, means the amount of money we generate through property taxes is roughly equivalent to what you guys bring in, manage, and detail through grants. It's a huge amount of resource. Yeah.
Which is another reason to resist any harebrained schemes from the legislature to cap our overall budget growth. So,
Well said there too.
yeah, thanks for the thorough presentation.
They're contemplating spending caps. Not taxation. Taxes are our ability to tax is already capped. It's been statutorily capped forever. This would be spending cap. So all that money that Aaron's bringing in, oh my goodness, we might not be able to spend that because spending that money on these community programs might push us over the limit for the money we got.
It's just such an undeveloped reasoning.
It's just angry. It's being angry reactionaries,
Yeah.
scoring political points rather than actually looking.
Yes.
And then looking at spending as a proxy for taxation instead of just looking at taxation if you want to look at taxation. So
I know it's shocking. The legislature's reasoning is all so well reasoned usually. So
a lot of thought.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same committee that's contemplating that is also contemplating some really great chunks of reform to property taxes. So there's a whole gamut of solutions out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks
Melissa.
a ton for all the work and the great presentation.
Oh, yeah. Well, and thanks to Chris too, who has been a partner in thought and leading the charge.
He's really good at the
to help-
partner and thought piece.
Yeah, to help support, you know.
Really
lead.
those three people?
Yeah. Been incredibly.
Well, thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
Anything-
Before you guys go,
Anything else from anyone?
Yes, can we, can you take a photo of
Allison.
everyone putting our hands up in celebration, looking that way?
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Everyone's. Ice.
All of it.
What are we celebrating?
Got it. I think.
We shouldn't contribute to the, ongoing positive energy.
I was just watching.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks, everyone.
I want to ask you a question too.